Okay, welcome to our first parent Power Maths group, club I should say, Power Maths Club Helper. And in this video I just wanted to go through a slight overview of the topic and also what's important for our session one. So in this topic then we'll be really focusing on making sure we've absolutely nailed children's understanding of the four main operations, and those are addition, subtraction, multiplication and division, and that's what all of module 1 is about. It will take us probably pretty much until Christmas, I should imagine. We'll spend a little less time on addition and subtraction because they've had a lot more time on that, but we will spend more time on multiplication and particularly division. Couple of heads up then. When we get onto multiplication and division, it's really important that the children have good knowledge of times tables, and so if they don't already have good knowledge of times tables, really please be practicing those. TT rock stars, just asking them in the car or over the breakfast table as we go through the day, or evening meal, any of those types of things that you can do to big up their times tables is going to help. The long and short of it is, without decent times tables knowledge, multiplication and division is difficult for children. So let's have a think about some of the vocabulary they're going to be using then. And there's a couple of different slides that I've got to show you about this. This vocabulary here is the vocabulary that they really will be using a lot during this unit 1. One of those is column multiplication, long division, remainder, short division, column addition. I have not written column subtraction on there, though that's important too. Estimate and factor. So those words are really important for this unit, but it is also worth taking a few minutes to think about some of the vocabulary that the children should be familiar with, and that's on this slide here. So words associated with addition then are on this card here, subtraction underneath it, division and multiplication. I won't go through those words now, but it'd be really good if you can go through them with the children in your own time. We will obviously go through them in school as well, but it's very important that the children know the difference between this language, because the language tells them what they need to do when they come up against a problem. So for example, they know that if they come across difference between, then they know that's a subtraction calculation. If they come up with altogether or total, that's an addition. And where it's important is, let's take for example the numbers 3 and 4. The total of 3 and 4 is 7. The sum of 3 and 4 is 7. 3 and 4 altogether make 7. The product of 3 and 4 is 12. And that is why they really do need to know the difference between the words that are associated with addition and subtraction and multiplication and division. And just then, for today's purposes or this week's purposes, addition and subtraction, and these are some of the words or some of the sentences that may come up with addition. How many altogether? What is the total? What is the sum? Subtraction, how many are left over? How much less is, or how many fewer? What is the difference between? There are lots of different sentences and they come back to these. So throughout this session then, the children will have to be thinking about three sort of key areas of mathematics as far as subtraction and addition are concerned. The key of all of them really is place value, and this chart here shows place value. We'll have all known from our own school days, hundreds, tens and units it was called then. We now call it hundreds, tens and ones, and of course it extends both to the left with thousands and tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands, and of course it does to the right as well with tenths and hundredths and thousands. They'll also need to know and be really secure with, let me just change my pen a second, with columnar, column addition and subtraction. Now today we've only been looking at ones where there is no exchanging needed. In other words, you don't need to carry over, as we used to call it. We don't need to exchange from the hundreds to the tens and the tens to the ones. And then our final one that we'll be looking at today is number line. Number lines can be used in both directions, so working backwards or forwards, and they're really strong as a visual representation. So those are the kind of three representations that people would be used to looking at today, but they should also be looking at them all the way through their school. So coming back to the partitioning again, so you can see here that we've got this one lot of hundreds, we've got 4 lots of tens, and we've got 2 lots of ones, and together that makes 142. So throughout today's session then, they'll be looking at things such as this. We need to do a subtraction, 2,679, subtract 534, and they'll be looking at these different models for it then, the number line, the place value, and the column subtraction, and it'll be asking the children to think about, well, which one shows it best? Which one is enabling them to work most efficiently? And then when it comes to working on their own, either in class or at home if they haven't finished it, they'll be looking at questions like this. Now, what's really important is what we said earlier on. We talked about the use of the language, and this is where it becomes really important. So here we have a pilot flew 2,438 kilometres on the Monday, and then 1,330 kilometres on the Tuesday. You read that, your instant thoughts may be, oh, well, that's an addition calculation. But if we look at the question, how much further did she fly on Monday than Tuesday? How much further did she fly on Monday and Tuesday? So in other words, it's a finding the difference type of question, because they flew further on the Monday than they did on the Tuesday. You need to find out, well, what's the difference between what they flew on the Monday and the Tuesday? So there we have a subtraction. And it's very likely in this situation that they're going to be using a column. So on the Monday, 2,438 kilometres. On the Tuesday, 1,333 kilometres. What was the difference between them? I.e. a subtraction calculation. We do these in the order. We take away the bottom from the top. 8 subtract 0 is 8, 3 subtract 3 is 0, 4 subtract 3 is 1, and 2 subtract 1 is 1. So we know then that the difference between them was 1,108 kilometres. 1,108 kilometres. Now obviously they would show they're working in a box. When it comes to this B question, on Wednesday, the pilot flew 227 kilometres less than on Monday. Okay, so we know they flew less than they did on Monday. How far did she fly on Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday? This is a calculation that's going to require more than one step, because not only do we have to find out how far they flew on Wednesday, which is 2,438 subtract the 227. Once we get the answer to that, we'll also, because that's Wednesday of course, we'll also need to add together Monday plus Tuesday plus Wednesday. So that's what we'll need to do. So there's 2 steps with that one. So let's do this one. Let's do this first. I'm going to just delete some of this stuff so I've got more room to work. So we know then that 2,438 subtract, this is where my place value comes in, because I need to make sure that I write it in the right places. 227, 8 subtract 7 is 1, 3 subtract 2 is 1, 4 subtract 2 is 2, 2 subtract this one here is 0, is 2. So on Wednesday then, we know they did 2,211. So I'm just going to make myself a bit more space here. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say Wednesday equals 2,211. Okay, so just for now, I'm going to get rid of some of this stuff up here, so I've got more room to work. So now I've got, back to here, I don't know, let's go for red. So I've got my 2,438, that's Monday. I've got my 1,330, that's Tuesday. I've got my 2,211, that is Wednesday. And now I need to work out what they are all together, which is an addition. Now I just need to go down in the columns. 8 plus 0 plus 1 equals 9. 3 plus 3 plus 1, I know is 30 and 30 and 10. So 6, 7. 4 plus 3 is 7 plus 2 is 9. And 2 and 2 is 4 plus the 1 is 5. So we know then in total, I'm going to rub this out because I don't want that being confused with the answer. So we know then it was 5,979 kilometres in total. Be expected to write that in a sentence. Okay, that's all that I think I need to show you for today.